Hey everybody, welcome to episode 52 of the Reluctant Leader podcast, where we remind the doubting, the devoted, and the downright tired that you don't have to have it all together to lead well. I'm your host, Paul Jenkins, and today we're going to talk about something every leader wrestles with, but hardly anyone wants to admit out loud. When do you call it quits on a strategy that isn't working? How do you pivot toward what God's actually blessing in your life right now? Isn't faith supposed to mean sticking it out no matter what? Spoiler alert, no, and I'll show you why. So here's the thing. If you've been leading anything for, 15 minutes or so, you've probably felt this tension. You start something with passion, you name it, you brand it, you post about it, you even write a killer tagline for it, and then crickets. At first, you tell yourself, it just needs some time. Then you convince yourself, well, maybe people are on vacation. And before you know it, it's like 6 months later, and you're still pouring time, energy, and headspace into something that just isn't producing the fruit that you had prayed for. How do I know? Well, I've been writing this weekly email called The Launchpad, and the heart behind it was solid: to encourage people to pursue spiritual and emotional health, to push them off the launch pad on a Monday toward their God-given potential for the week. But here's the truth. After 6 months, it hasn't grown. The list hasn't moved. There's been some pretty decent engagement, but it just hasn't grown like I thought it would. And last week, while I was prepping for my sermon, along with doing some reading for my doctoral cohort, I realized I'm pouring time and energy into something that God might not be blessing in this season, while other things He's clearly called me to, my doctoral work and leading the gathering, are sitting there asking for my best. All of these are good, and all of these can help people, but one just isn't possible in this season. And listen, that isn't failure. That is faithfulness. Let's anchor this in Scripture for a second. In Acts chapter 16, Paul and his crew wanted to go preach in Asia. That was their strategy, their heart. But in verse 7, it says that the Spirit of Jesus would not allow them to. So what did they do? They pivoted. They changed direction and ended up in Macedonia, where Lydia met Jesus, a jailer's family got saved, and the church in Europe was born. Listen, the pivot wasn't rejection. It was redirection. And some of us need to hear that today. The fact that your plan isn't working doesn't mean you missed God. It might mean He's rerouting you towards something better. Let me give you a few practical ways to know when it's time to pivot. Number one, evaluate with clear eyes, not cloudy emotions. Is this effort actually bearing fruit? Don't ask, could it? Ask, is it? Number two, bring in trusted voices. I had a conversation with a mentor this week, and they asked me this question: Paul, you've only got so many hours in a day. Make sure you're giving your best hours to the thing that God's asking for right now. Boom, instant clarity. Number three, define what a win looks like. And it helps when you do that before you actually start. If you don't, you'll keep moving the goalpost just to justify staying in the game. Number four, pivot without apology. Own it. Share what you've learned. Then let people know where you're heading next. Number five, remember, God is not married to your methods. The mission matters, but the methods can change. So here's my move. I'm pressing pause on the launch pad. Not because it was a bad idea, but because it's not the best idea right now. And I'm leaning into my doctoral work and my pastoring, because in this season, that's where God is asking for my best. And listen, I'll probably be back at some point with a better, more focused version of the launch pad when the timing's right. But for now, I'm going to trust the pivot. Let me leave you with this question. What's one thing you need to release so you can run after what God's actually blessing in your life right now? Don't carry dead weight into your next season. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me for this episode of the Reluctant Leader Podcast. And if it hit home for you, would you mind leaving a quick review? Maybe sharing it with a friend or team leader you know that's wrestling with a pivot of their own. And hey, hit subscribe and hit like and hit that bell so you can be notified when there are new episodes of this podcast. And if you're curious about what I'm working on in my doctoral program, then stick around. I'm going to be sharing some of that stuff in upcoming episodes as well. Until then, keep leading, pivot when you need to, and remember, reluctant doesn't mean unqualified. It just means that you're aware. And awareness is where wisdom lives. Keep giving God your best and trust that He'll do the rest.